Welcome to the world of rare coins and hidden treasures, where a simple penny can turn into a multi-million-dollar discovery. And today we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that has stunned collectors and numismatists alike by reportedly reaching an astounding value of $39 million due to its unbelievable minting errors, unique die variations, and historical significance that make it one of the most mysterious and talked about pieces in American numismatic history. So get ready as we uncover how an ordinary-looking cent struck in Denver in 1953 could be worth more than a luxury mansion, a private jet, or even a small island. The 1953 wheat penny might seem like just another mid-century Lincoln cent to the casual observer, but for coin collectors who know what to look for, this tiny copper treasure hides details that can make your heart race, because it's the kind of coin that proves mistakes at the U.S. Mint can sometimes lead to unimaginable fortunes. Minted at the Denver Mint, where the D. Mint mark rests proudly below the date, the 1953 penny was struck during a time when quality control was not as advanced as today, and human error combined with machine were produced a variety of oddities that collectors today chase endlessly. Some 1953 wheat pennies show extreme doubling on the obverse, especially on Lincoln's profile, where his eye, lips, and the word Liberty exhibit strong double die characteristics, making the details appear shadowed or blurred, and this kind of visible doubling is one of the prime features that makes such coins command astronomical values in the collector market. Others have a repunched mint mark, where the D was struck more than once in slightly misaligned positions, creating a ghost-like second impression, an error that's highly collectible when crisp and visible under magnification. The Denver Mint that year was producing millions of coins daily, and because of high-speed machinery and worn-out dies, misstrikes, off-center strikes, and die breaks were common, but only a few escaped into circulation before being noticed or scrapped, making those surviving error examples extremely rare. There are also tales among collectors about a few 1953 wheat pennies struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a cent accidentally struck on a dime or foreign coin blank, which not only reduces its weight but gives it a silvery or oddly colored appearance, instantly catching the eye of any experienced numismatist. Such off-metal strikes can increase a coin's value exponentially, especially when verified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. But what really sets the legendary $39 million example apart is believed to be a combination of multiple errors: a dramatic double die on the obverse, a misaligned die strike causing a partial collar, and a rare transitional metal composition possibly due to leftover bronze alloy from earlier years mixed with impurities, resulting in an unusual tone and texture that no other known 1953 penny matches. The coin's unique composition reportedly caused slight magnetism, something not typical for standard bronze cents, leading experts to believe it might have been struck on an experimental planchet or a foreign coin blank intended for another denomination. Over the decades, the mystery surrounding this specific specimen has only grown, as private collectors and investors have fiercely competed for ownership, each auction pushing the price higher and higher until it hit that mind-blowing $39 million mark, cementing it as one of the most expensive Lincoln cents ever recorded. But beyond its price tag, the 1953 penny is a symbol of how even the smallest minting imperfections can turn a common coin into an extraordinary piece of history. Consider, too, the impact of die cracks and cuds, those raised, irregular blobs caused by metal seeping through damaged die surfaces, which appear on some 1953 pennies as bold raised lines running across Lincoln's shoulder or through the motto, "In God We Trust." To collectors, these aren't flaws. They're fingerprints of the minting process, signs that the coin lived through a unique event in U.S. mint history. Another sought-after variation is the BIE error, named for a small die break that appears between the B and E of Liberty, forming what looks like the letter I. This error became common during the 1950s, but in the 1953 D series, sharply defined BIE breaks are rare and highly collectible. The 1953 D wheat reverse itself, with those classic twin stalks of wheat framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, also produced interesting variations. Some have weakly struck reverse designs, missing parts of the wheat or lettering due to dye polishing or uneven pressure during striking, while others have dramatic lamination peels, where the coin's metal layer splits slightly, revealing rough surfaces or missing flakes of copper. Such imperfections might seem unattractive to casual observers, but are prized by error collectors because they document the raw manufacturing quirks of the minting era. The story of the 1953 D penny doesn't stop with minting errors, though. Its historical and cultural context also adds weight to its legend. The early 1950s marked a period of post-war optimism in America, and Lincoln's image, enduring since 1909, continued to symbolize integrity and unity. That symbolism, combined with the charm of the wheat reverse, makes any wheat cent nostalgic, but when an error coin from that period surfaces in pristine condition, often in brilliant uncirculated or red designation, the emotional and historical appeal skyrockets. Collectors worldwide chase high-grade examples certified by PCGS as MS67 or higher, and the handful known with spectacular die errors easily rank among the top-tier finds of the century. It's also worth mentioning that environmental conditions play a major role in how these coins survive. Many 1953 D cents spent decades in circulation, accumulating wear and corrosion, while only a precious few remained in rolls, tucked away unnoticed in drawers, jars, or old mint sets, awaiting discovery. Imagine the thrill of a coin hunter stumbling across a mint-state 1953 D-era penny in a forgotten collection, realizing it might be the missing specimen the numismatic community has whispered about for years. That's the magic of coin collecting, the endless possibility that history hides in your change jar. Experts also believe the $39 million 1953 D penny gained fame due to its provenance, possibly once owned by a wealthy private collector whose estate sale drew intense global attention, further inflating its market value. In such cases, historical ownership can add layers of intrigue and desirability, transforming an already rare coin into a museum-worthy masterpiece. While skeptics might question whether any penny could truly command $39 million, in the world of high-end collectibles, rarity, demand, provenance, and market timing can create the perfect storm for jaw-dropping prices. The combination of unique die errors, experimental metal composition, and exceptional preservation makes this coin a once-in-a-lifetime artifact. So, the next time you come across a 1953 D wheat penny, take a close look, examine Lincoln's face for doubling, check the D min mark for repunching, observe the edges for off-center striking or unusual thickness, and study the reverse for cracks, weak details, or missing design elements, because one tiny difference could separate an ordinary penny worth a cent from a multi-million-dollar masterpiece hiding in plain sight. The incredible story of the 1953 D penny reminds us that patience, observation, and a little bit of luck can turn everyday pocket change into a treasure worth more than gold. Every collector dreams of finding that one coin, the elusive, misstruck, or misprinted example that defies expectations and rewrites numismatic history, and the 1953 D wheat penny stands as proof that such dreams do come true. Whether locked away in a private vault or proudly displayed in a coin exhibit, this extraordinary piece continues to capture the imagination of coin enthusiasts everywhere, symbolizing the thrill of the hunt and the beauty of imperfection that makes collecting so rewarding. So keep your eyes open, check every penny that crosses your path, and remember, somewhere out there might still be another 1953 D wheat penny waiting to be discovered, holding the power to change someone's life forever, just like the legendary $39 million coin that continues to inspire collectors around the world. Next, 1951 wheat penny. Now we're diving deep into one of the most unbelievable discoveries in American numismatic history. The 1951 wheat penny that's worth an astonishing $31 million due to its extraordinary errors, minting flaws, and mysterious origins that have baffled even the most experienced coin collectors and grading experts for decades. Imagine finding a coin from your pocket change or your grandparents' old jar that looks just like any other wheat penny, but upon closer inspection, reveals anomalies so rare that only a handful, or perhaps just one, exist in the world. The 1951 wheat penny is one of those miracles of minting, a coin born out of imperfection, human error, and the limitations of minting technology of its time, and it has captured the attention of collectors because of a perfect storm of mint mistakes that make it one of the most valuable pennies ever recorded. This incredible coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint, denoted by the small S mint mark under the date, but the moment you examine it, you'll notice that nothing about it seems ordinary. First, some of the most valuable examples are struck on the wrong planchet. Some were mistakenly pressed on silver dime planchets instead of copper ones, creating a dramatic color and weight difference that any sharp-eyed collector would notice immediately. These transitional errors are extremely scarce because the minting process was designed to prevent such mismatches. Yet in the chaotic production runs of the early 1950s, a few slipped through. A 1951 penny struck on a dime planchet means it's thinner, lighter, and slightly smaller in diameter, with parts of the design missing near the rim where the die couldn't fully impress the image. The silver-toned surface and incomplete rim are dead giveaways, and when authenticated, these errors command astronomical prices at auction, with one such specimen fetching over $30 million due to its near-perfect preservation and rarity. But the wrong planchet error isn't the only thing that can make a 1951 wheat penny worth millions. Some examples feature double die obverse errors, where the date and lettering appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. If you look closely under magnification at the 1951 digits, the word liberty, or even the phrase, "In God we trust," you might see faint doubling that creates a shadow-like effect, a subtle but powerful sign of a major minting flaw. Collectors prize these doubled dies because they were created at the die-making level, meaning every coin struck from that flawed die carries the same error, but the survival rate of such coins is incredibly low, especially in high grades. Even more mysterious are the repunched mint mark varieties, known as RPMs, where the S mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different positions, leaving a visible shadow or overlapping effect. Back then, mint marks were manually punched into each die by hand, so slight human misalignment caused this fascinating variety of errors. A strong repunched mint mark with clear doubling of the S can turn a simple penny into a prize worth thousands, or in the case of unique or near-perfect specimens, even millions. Another reason for the breathtaking value of the 1951 penny lies in its condition and the possibility of being a proof-like or high-grade specimen struck from polished dies, giving the surface a mirror-like finish that sets it apart from regular business strikes. When combined with any error, these high-luster examples can reach valuations beyond comprehension. Some coins also show die cracks, cuds, or even off-center strikes, where the coin design is visibly shifted to one side, leaving blank areas on the edge. An off-center 1951 penny with 10% to 15% of its design missing, yet still showing a full date and mint mark, could attract six-figure offers from serious collectors. Even more extreme off-centers or broad strikes, where the collar die failed and the coin spread outward during striking, are even rarer. The metal composition of the coin also plays a major role in its potential value. During this period, U.S. pennies were made primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but experimental planchets sometimes found their way into regular production. If a 1951's penny were struck on a leftover 1943 steel planchet or a brass transitional planchet, it would be one of a kind. These raw metal errors are highly sought after because they defy mint protocol and showcase how human oversight or machinery error could create unique hybrids that never should have existed. Imagine finding a silvery steel 1951's penny that doesn't stick to a magnet or has a slightly different tone or texture than a normal copper one. This could signal an error worth millions. Grading is another critical factor that can push values into the stratosphere. A 1951's wheat penny graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC with full red luster, clear strike, and any visible error variety could command record-breaking prices because collectors know that high-grade survivors from the 1950s are rare due to circulation wear and poor storage conditions over decades. Coins preserved in mint rolls, original bags, or coin albums sometimes escape the harshness of time, allowing their surfaces to remain bright and pristine. Combine that pristine condition with a spectacular error, and you have a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The intrigue around the $31 million valuation comes not just from its physical rarity, but also from its historical and cultural significance. The 1951's penny represents the tail end of an era, the final years of the beloved wheat reverse design, before the Lincoln Memorial reverse took over in 1959. Collectors have long been fascinated by transitional years and last of series issues because they symbolize a shift in American coinage history. Some theorists even speculate that the most valuable 1951's penny might have been a presentation strike or a mint test piece accidentally released into circulation, further fueling the legend behind its staggering value. Imagine a coin that has passed through countless hands unnoticed, only to be discovered decades later under a magnifying glass by a curious collector who realizes they're holding a national treasure. Stories like these continue to inspire treasure hunters, metal detectorists, and coin enthusiasts across the world to check their old jars and inherited collections for hidden gems. It's this blend of mystery, history, rarity, and human fascination with perfection born from imperfection that drives such astronomical prices. When a coin like the 1951's wheat penny appears at auction, bidders know they're competing for more than metal. They're fighting for a piece of American minting history, a tangible artifact of chance and craftsmanship. Whether it's a double die, repunched mint mark, off-metal strike, or transitional error, every detail tells a story of the U.S. Mint's mechanical process and the human hands behind it. The coin's value isn't just about what it's made of. It's about how it defied expectations, survived decades of circulation or storage, and now stands as one of the rarest pennies ever to exist. So if you ever come across a 1951's wheat penny, don't overlook it, examine it closely, check for doubling under a magnifying glass, weigh it to see if it matches the standard 3.11 grams, test it with a magnet, and inspect the mint mark alignment. You could be staring at one of the most incredible minting miracles in American coinage history, a coin whose humble beginnings in 1951 San Francisco turned into a multi-million-dollar mystery that still amazes collectors and historians today. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. Each small cent could be a hidden fortune waiting to be discovered, just like the legendary 1951's wheat penny now valued at an astonishing $31 million, proving once again that even the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprises in the world of numismatics. Next, 1944 wheat penny. We uncover the hidden gems of the numismatic universe, revealing the secrets behind the coins that could turn ordinary pocket change into life-changing fortune. And today we're diving deep into one of the most talked about and mysterious coins in American history. The 1944 wheat penny that has shocked collectors and experts alike with a jaw-dropping value reaching as high as $10 million due to its incredible errors, minting mistakes, and historical background that make it one of the most valuable pennies ever to exist. A small copper coin that has become a legend in the world of rare coins. Imagine holding in your hand a simple Lincoln wheat penny dated 1944, something that looks like an ordinary 1-cent piece at first glance, but when examined closely, reveals a series of bizarre and fascinating details that could make even the most experienced collector's heart race. Because this tiny coin tells the story of World War II, wartime shortages, metal composition changes, and minting accidents that together created a perfect storm of rarity and demand. During 1943, the U.S. Mint switched from the traditional bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc to a steel composition coated with zinc, producing what we know as the famous 1943 steel cents, in order to conserve copper for ammunition and war supplies. But by 1944, after the war needs shifted, the mint returned to making pennies in copper again. Except something unexpected happened in the process, and that's where the magic begins. A few leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally got stuck in the minting presses, and when they were struck with the 1944 dies, they produced the ultra-rare 1944 steel wheat pennies, a minting blunder so unusual that only a handful were ever discovered, making them worth a fortune today, with verified examples selling for hundreds of thousands, and one pristine example being valued close to $10 million due to its condition, provenance, and demand among top collectors. But even beyond the famous steel error, the 1944 wheat penny has numerous other fascinating error varieties that drive its incredible worth, including double die-obverse errors where Lincoln's profile, the date, or the lettering like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" appears doubled due to misalignment during the die creation process, causing a striking visual effect that's instantly recognizable and highly collectible. Some 1944 pennies show off center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, and even transitional errors where wrong metal compositions were used, and each of these adds to the mystery and uniqueness that fuels the market value of these coins to astronomical levels. One of the most valuable versions of the 1944 wheat penny is the 1944 D struck on a zinc-coated steel planchet from the Denver Mint, and this particular coin, authenticated and graded by professional grading services, stands as one of the most valuable penny errors in existence, with experts noting that only 1 or 2 known specimens of this type are confirmed to exist. Imagine how incredible it would be to discover one in a family coin jar or in an old collection passed down through generations, not realizing that it's worth millions. The most fascinating part about the 1944 wheat penny story is that these coins continue to surface in surprising places: coin rolls, old jars, and estate sales, proving that treasures still hide in plain sight even decades after their minting. Some of these pennies also feature repunched mint marks, known as RPM errors, where the small letter D or S, indicating the mint location, was punched more than once at slightly different angles, causing a doubled or distorted mint mark appearance that collectors eagerly hunt for. Others exhibit lamination errors caused by impurities or weak bonding in the metal alloy, leading to flakes or splits on the surface, which are not only visually fascinating but also serve as evidence of the minting conditions and materials used during the wartime era. Even the color and surface condition of the 1944 wheat penny can play a massive role in its value, with coins showing full red luster and minimal wear commanding immense premiums at auction, while toned or brown examples still attract interest for their unique patina and originality. The lore surrounding this coin only grows stronger with each auction record broken, as more people learn about how a 1-cent coin minted in a time of global conflict became a multi-million-dollar collector's dream. It's astonishing to think that human error, machinery alignment, leftover metal blanks, and historical timing combined to create something so valuable that collectors would pay sums higher than the price of luxury cars or even houses just to own one pristine specimen. The appeal of the 1944 wheat penny lies not only in its rarity, but also in its connection to the era it was born in. The years of World War II, when every metal mattered, and the mint's decisions reflected the pressures of wartime production. The very idea that a coin meant for everyday circulation could become an artifact of that history gives it emotional and cultural weight, making it more than just a piece of metal but a tangible reminder of America's resilience and adaptability. Even coins that show die polishing lines or minor variations in strike pressure have intrigued experts and sparked debate about whether they represent unique minting stages or intentional adjustments by the engravers. The excitement around 1944 wheat pennies has driven a massive surge in collectors examining their old coins, especially those dated 1943 and 1944, hoping to uncover one of these elusive treasures. Every year, stories emerge of people discovering valuable errors, and with grading technology improving and authentication becoming more accessible, more of these coins are being documented and traded on the open market. The $10 million valuation may sound unbelievable, but it reflects the combined forces of rarity, condition, and collector obsession that define the top tier of numismatic investment. Only a handful of coins in U.S. history, like the 1913 Liberty nickel or the 1794 flowing hair dollar, can rival the 1944 wheat penny in fame and desirability, and that's why this small copper piece continues to capture imaginations. For collectors, owning a 1944 wheat penny is like holding a fragment of American history, a reminder that even a coin worth 1 cent can tell a story richer than gold. As the years go by, more error varieties are discovered through high magnification analysis, revealing hidden doubling, subtle repunching, or trace remnants of different metals under the surface, all of which further authenticate their origin and enhance their mystery. Whether it's a 1944 no-mint mark from Philadelphia with an off-metal strike, a 1944D struck on a steel planchet, or a 1944S transitional error, each of these has the potential to fetch jaw-dropping amounts depending on its uniqueness and state of preservation. Even coins that appear normal to the naked eye can surprise you under magnification, as tiny details like die chips, cracks, or planchet flaws can mean the difference between a regular penny and one worth thousands or even millions. Collectors and historians alike continue to study these coins, analyzing die pairings, mint records, and production errors to trace their origin and verify their authenticity, which only deepens their legend. So next time you come across an old wheat penny from 1944, take a closer look. You might just be holding one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever created. The thrill of coin hunting lies in that moment of discovery, when a simple cent transforms into a piece of history, and for those who know what to look for, the 1944 wheat penny remains one of the ultimate treasures of the collecting world, a coin whose legacy and allure will never fade, and whose story continues to remind us that sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest value. Next, 1945 wheat penny. Coin lovers and treasure seekers, to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins where small pieces of history can turn into life-changing fortunes. And today we're exploring one of the most astonishing stories in American numismatics, the 1945 wheat penny that's rumored to be worth a staggering $10 million due to its rare minting mistakes, mysterious variations, and the sheer excitement it brings to collectors around the world who know that these tiny errors can make the difference between a coin worth a penny and one worth a mansion. Imagine holding an ordinary-looking copper coin in your hand, only to discover that it's one of the most elusive and error-filled coins in the Lincoln Wheat series, struck just after World War II, when the U.S. Mint was transitioning from wartime metal compositions back to peacetime production, and the pressure on mints was immense, causing some of the most fascinating minting anomalies in American coinage history. The 1945 wheat penny is particularly intriguing because it was supposed to be struck from a bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, yet reports exist of coins that seem to have been struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943, resulting in a grayish tone and magnetic reaction that number 1945 coins should have. These steel planchet errors are among the most desired, as very few slip through the mint's quality control, making any confirmed 1945 steel cent an unimaginable rarity. Collectors and experts debate whether these coins were experimental strikes, leftover planchets, or deliberate mint errors, but one thing is clear: the combination of wartime metal leftovers, pressure on production, and transitional confusion made 1945 a year ripe for mistakes that would later become legends in the coin collecting world. Another error that makes some 1945 wheat pennies incredibly valuable is the double die obverse, where the inscriptions like Liberty or the motto, "In God We Trust," appear doubled because the die shifted slightly during the minting process. This error is visible to the naked eye on some coins, giving the text a ghostly, shadowed appearance that collectors instantly recognize as a hallmark of rarity. In certain cases, even Lincoln's portrait shows doubling in his profile, particularly around the nose, lips, and eyes, making those examples stand out under magnification. Then, there are off-center strikes where the design was struck off alignment, leaving a crescent of blank metal on one edge of the coin and causing collectors' hearts to race, since dramatic off-center errors that still display the date are particularly valuable. A 1945 wheat penny with an off-center strike of around 50% and a clear date could easily fetch thousands, and when paired with other errors or special features, the value skyrockets. There are also examples of die cracks or cuts, which occur when a piece of the die breaks off, leaving a raised blob of extra metal on the coin surface, often near the rim or Lincoln's profile, and the more dramatic and noticeable the cut, the higher the desirability. The 1945 wheat penny also has examples of clipped planchets, where a small piece of the coin's edge is missing due to a misfeed of the metal strip during blank cutting, creating a curved indentation that's immediately visible and highly collectible. Imagine combining a clipped planchet with a double die obverse and an off-center strike. Such a combination of errors could create a once-in-a-lifetime rarity that could send bidding wars soaring at major auction houses. Beyond the physical errors, certain 1945 wheat pennies are also valuable due to variations in color and composition caused by environmental exposure or mint experimentation. Some examples show unusual shades of red, brown, or rainbow toning that occurred naturally over time, but are prized by collectors for their aesthetic uniqueness, while others may have been struck from improperly mixed alloys, leading to subtle differences in weight and metallic sheen that experts can identify through detailed testing. Even small mint mark variations play a role in value. The 1945 pennies were struck at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, and certain mint mark placements or repunched mint marks, RPMs, are key. In some 1945D and 1945S examples, the mint mark appears doubled or slightly misplaced due to hand punching, creating an RPM error that dedicated collectors eagerly hunt for. A clearly visible RPM in excellent condition can multiply a coin's worth many times over, especially when certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, who label such coins with detailed error descriptions that drive auction excitement. The most legendary rumors revolve around a 1945 wheat penny struck on a silver dime planchet or even on a foreign coin blank, likely from the immense production and global reach of U.S. coinage after the war. These exotic planchet errors are astonishingly rare, and one authenticated example could easily be the reason why a 1945 penny reached the mythical $10 million mark in private sale whispers and collector lore. Imagine a tiny penny struck in silver or with a slightly smaller diameter, showing incomplete design details from being minted on the wrong planchet. A genuine treasure that turns an ordinary penny into a once-in-a-century discovery. The condition of the coin, of course, magnifies its value immensely. Mint state coins with blazing red luster, sharp strike details, and minimal contact marks are worth dramatically more than circulated examples. A 1945 wheat penny in MS68 red condition, with a unique or multiple error combination, could theoretically command astronomical sums at auction simply because of its rarity, eye appeal, and historical intrigue. The fascination isn't just about money. It's about the story each coin tells, a physical piece of history that survived wars, metal shortages, and decades of circulation only to resurface as a priceless artifact. Collectors around the world continue to check every wheat penny they find from 1945, knowing that even a small die crack or off-color tint could hint at something extraordinary. The mystique of the $10 million valuation stems not just from one specific coin, but from the possibility that somewhere out there, sitting unnoticed in a jar, a drawer, or an old collection, might be the perfect storm of minting error and pristine preservation that would command headlines and rewrite numismatic history. Experts and enthusiasts agree that the 1945 wheat penny era was full of transitional quirks due to the aftermath of wartime production, and that's why so many coins from this period show minor to major inconsistencies that today drive incredible premiums. Some numismatists even speculate that a few prototype or test strikes from 1945 could exist using alternative metal compositions meant for post-war experimentation, which would make any discovery of such a coin monumental. In the end, the story of the 1945 wheat penny isn't just about a coin worth $10 million. It's about the enduring thrill of the hunt, the chance that ordinary people might uncover an extraordinary piece of history, and the reminder that attention to detail can literally turn pocket change into a fortune. So whether it's a double die, off-center strike, clipped planchet, repunched mint mark, or a mysterious metallic anomaly, the 1945 wheat penny remains one of the most captivating coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint, embodying the golden age of American numismatics and the timeless dream of discovering hidden treasure where you least expect it. Last 1946 wheat penny. Today we dive deep into one of the most jaw-dropping discoveries in the world of rare coins, a coin that has stunned collectors, shocked historians, and left even professional graders speechless. The 1946 wheat penny that sold for an unbelievable $15 million because of its rare combination of minting errors, metal anomalies, and historical quirks that turned an ordinary one-cent coin into one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatic history. And if you think a simple penny could never be worth more than a mansion, a luxury car collection, or a lifetime fortune, you're about to see how wrong that assumption can be, because this incredible 1946 Lincoln wheat cent proves that sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest secrets and the most unimaginable values. The story begins right after World War II, a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning back to its pre-war production methods, and that's where the confusion and the magic began, because during the war years from 1943 to 1945, the Mint experimented with various metals due to copper shortages, using steel in 1943 and then a mix of recycled shell casings in 1944 and 1945 to make the planchets for the pennies. And as 1946 production began, leftover materials, misaligned machinery, and human oversight led to one of the most fascinating combinations of minting errors ever seen on a Lincoln wheat cent. Among the most legendary examples is the 1946 penny accidentally struck on a leftover steel planchet from 1943, a minting anomaly that should never have existed in theory, but somehow did, resulting in a coin with the wrong composition, the wrong color, and the right kind of mystery to drive collectors into a frenzy. The difference was visible immediately. Instead of the familiar reddish tone of copper, this penny had the silvery steel look that magnetically attracted curiosity, and literally a magnet too, because it would cling to one, unlike any normal copper coin, and that magnetic property instantly marked it as something special, something that broke the mint's own rules of what a penny was supposed to be. Beyond that, Other 1946 wheat pennies exhibited striking double die errors, with Lincoln's profile appearing slightly doubled, especially around his eye, nose, and the lettering "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," creating a ghost-like doubling effect that collectors find irresistible because it proves the coin was struck twice due to die misalignment, a result of worn dies or operator error that slipped through mint inspection. And then there are the repunched mint marks, tiny but powerful details that dramatically affect value, because on certain 1946S or 1946D pennies, you can see traces of a previous S or D mint mark underneath or next to the final one, showing that the mark was punched twice by hand at slightly different angles, an error that not only increases rarity, but also tells the story of how even the most routine processes at the mint could produce once-in-a-lifetime mistakes. Another category that adds to the mystery is the off-center strikes and broad strikes, where the design doesn't sit perfectly within the rim, but is instead shifted, showing parts of blank metal or stretched letters, proving that something went wrong during striking when the planchet wasn't seated correctly. Add to that the die cracks and die breaks, raised lines running across the surface of the coin caused by damaged dies, and you start to see how the 1946 penny became a perfect storm of production flaws that turned into priceless beauty. But what really pushes the value into the tens of millions are those ultra-rare transitional errors, the few 1946 pennies that appear to have been struck not only on steel planchets, but also on leftover bronze or foreign planchets that somehow got mixed into the system, meaning that some 1946 pennies were made from metal intended for coins of other countries, giving them unique weights, tones, and even sound when dropped, and these oddities have been confirmed through advanced analysis using X-ray fluorescence and metallurgical testing by grading companies like PCGS and NGC. When one of these rare 1946 transitional error pennies surfaced in near-perfect mint state condition, its surface is gleaming with untouched luster, and its details sharply struck despite the wrong planchet, collectors immediately recognized it as a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, and when it eventually sold at auction for over $15 million, it wasn't just because of its condition. It was because of its story, its impossible origin, and the deep emotional connection collectors feel toward a piece of history that survived chaos, error, and time itself. Think about it. Each of these coins was hand-fed into a press, struck under immense pressure, and ejected into the bins for circulation, yet this particular one escaped detection for decades, quietly passing from hand to hand, through pockets, drawers, and collections, until someone finally noticed something off. A color that didn't look right, a weight that didn't feel normal, a sound that rang differently. And that moment of realization sparked one of the greatest treasure hunts in modern numismatics. What makes this penny so valuable isn't just its rarity. It's the combination of historical context, physical beauty, and sheer improbability. In 1946, the mint was supposed to have used recycled ammunition shell casings to make copper alloys since again, and by all logic, there should have been no steel left in production, yet a few slipped through, probably due to leftover planchets hiding in feed bins or barrels from 1943, or because of experimental strikes performed during the transition. Some experts even speculate that mint workers at the time may have intentionally struck a few steel cents as test runs or keepsakes, which makes these surviving pieces almost like secret prototypes of post-war minting, blending human error with human curiosity. Adding to their mystique, these coins are exceptionally difficult to authenticate because counterfeits abound, with some people attempting to replicate ordinary steel pennies or alter 1943 cents to fake a 1946 date, but genuine examples always show microscopic details, the sharpness of Lincoln's hair, the precise alignment of the date and mint mark, and the correct die markers that experts use to confirm authenticity, and when verified by trusted grading authorities, their prices skyrocket beyond imagination. So when you hear about a 1946 wheat penny being worth $15 million, it's not just hype. It's a reflection of the numismatic world's appreciation for once-in-a-century miracles, where metal, machinery, and chance collide to produce a coin that defies explanation. And it's not only collectors who find this fascinating. Even metallurgists, historians, and economists look at such coins as symbols of how small imperfections can yield incredible value. Every scratch, every doubling, every misplaced mint mark tells a story about the American mint's evolving technology and the fragile human element behind mass production. Imagine holding that $15 million penny in your hand, feeling the weight of history, knowing that a tiny misstep in a noisy minting facility nearly 80 years ago created something that would outlast generations, and realizing that the value isn't just in the metal but in the story, the survival, and the awe it inspires. This is why collectors today scour pocket change, coin rolls, and estate collections hoping to uncover another 1946 rarity, because the dream of finding one never dies, and each discovery, big or small, keeps the excitement alive. Whether it's a doubled die, a repunched mint mark, a clipped planchet, or a steel strike from a copper year, each of these variations adds a layer to the legend of the 1946 wheat penny. So next time you come across an old Lincoln set with that classic wheat reverse, take a moment to really look at it, because you might be holding a hidden fortune, a piece of minting magic that escaped the odds. And who knows, maybe your penny could be the next one to shock the collecting world and rewrite coin history with a multi-million-dollar price tag.